Pack it up, pack it in. Let us begin. Coming to you live today from Studio 6 here in downtown Phoenix, Arizona. It's time for yet another edition of Inside the Inferno. My name is AJ Gonzalez. I'm joined by Tyler Wargo. And Tyler, it is officially Super Bowl weekend. My favorite team's playing in the game, but that's in the future because, frankly, we've got plenty of Arizona State sports to talk about right now.
That's right, AJ. Spring is slowly but surely coming our way. Whether that features golf, softball, or baseball, we are ready to cover it all.
Well, with that, we will start it out with the Diamond with ASU softball. Our Anna Hallgren has the recap from last night's sellout crowd against number 3 ranked Oklahoma.
Thanks, AJ. The Arizona State softball team went head-to-head with one of the best teams in the nation, number 3 ranked Oklahoma. The Sooners traveled to the Alberta B. Farrington Stadium in Tempe for one of their most highly anticipated matchups of the year. Following a win against the University of Toledo, Arizona State head coach Megan Bartlett was looking to keep the momentum going. However, the Maroon and Gold lost 2-1. Even after a loss, the Sun Devils showcased that they can compete against the top end of NCAA softball. ASU outfielder Kaylee Pond recorded the only hit for the team in the top of the 3rd inning, a solo home run to put the Sun Devils on the board. In the circle, pitcher Kenzie Brown was strong, aside from the 2 runs she gave up in the 6th inning, when catcher Kendall Wells, in her first collegiate game, hit the ball out of the park for a 2-run homer. This key play put the Sooners up 2-1, ultimately sealing the game. Ella Parker was waiting on first base and scored the other run. In order for the Sun Devils to pull out wins against higher competition, Bartlett will need to see more consistency out of her hitters. Guys, back to you.
Staying on the Diamond, ASU baseball hosts Omaha for a 3-game series to open its season. Our Rome Katie joins us in studio to break down some of the team's off-season additions. Rome, thanks for joining us. Who's the first player that you can see making an impact for the Maroon and Gold this season?
Well, Tyler, when you talk about this transfer portal class, the first name that comes to mind is the former UNLV Hustlin' Rebel outfielder Dean Toigo. The 6'4", 205-pound southpaw hitter has been on a unique journey. Before heading to Las Vegas, he played 2 seasons at Cypress Community College and one with Hope International of the NAIA. In his 1 season in the Sin City last year, Toigo had his best season to date. He won Mountain West Co-Player of the Year and was on the All-Mountain West first team. The numbers also speak for themselves. Toigo compiled a .377 batting average, bashed 18 home runs, collected 74 RBIs, and had an OPS above 1,100. The current Big 12 preseason newcomer of the year is set to lock down right field for the Sun Devils and will look to be a run-producing threat in the lineup immediately.
You talked about the hitting side of things, but are there any players on the pitching staff that also caught your eye?
Well, Tyler, it's funny you mentioned that because we go back from one Hustlin' Rebel to another in right-handed pitcher Alex Overbay. After putting up limited production his freshman year, he was a frequent option out of the bullpen for the Red and Black. Even though his ERA ballooned to 5.14, Overbay struck out 42 batters and only walked 18 in just 28 innings pitched. He also notched 7 saves, which ranked 4th in the Mountain West. During fall camp, his fastball averaged at 95 to 96 miles per hour and even got as high as 98 miles per hour. His slider averages around 80 to 85 miles per hour and is currently developing a changeup as a 3rd pitch. According to D1Baseball.com, Overbay was considered the talk of the town among various local scouts and could project as a top arm either in the rotation or out of the bullpen this season.
For your last impactful transfer, it seems like the Sun Devils made a splash in the Big 12.
Yeah, that's right, Tyler. One of the 3 in-conference transfers that manager Willie Bloomquist scooped up in the portal was infielder Austin Rolig. After developing for a year with the dominant LSU Tigers, he joined the Utah Utes in 2025 and took his game to a different level. The Southern California native hit for a .341 batting average with 35 RBIs and an .832 OPS last season. Rolig also hit 16 doubles and swiped 8 bases. That elite production earned him a spot on the Big 12 All-Freshman team and was an All-Big 12 honorable mention as well. Rolig will look to play a similar role that guys like former Sun Devil second baseman Kyle Walker had, where his job is to set the table and get on base so that the heart of the order can feast. Look for Rolig to patrol 3rd base alongside Utah Valley transfer Dominic Smaldino this season for the Maroon and Gold. With 2 new players over on the hot corner, that means former 3rd baseman Nuke Contreras will now shift over to second base in the final year of his tenure as a Sun Devil. In all, 17 transfers have joined the Sun Devils for this upcoming season, and each one of them could have extremely pivotal roles to play in helping this team get back to the NCAA tournament and possibly make a deep run to Omaha once again. Back to you at the desk, Tyler.
Thank you, Rome, for breaking down ASU baseball's newest additions to the team.
Well, if you thought we were done with baseball, you're going to need to think again, because a southpaw born and raised in Tempe became one of the best relievers in all of college baseball last season, and our Kai Janagabis breaks down one of Sun Devil baseball's most important arms this season.
With the Arizona State baseball season beginning in a little less than a week from now, there's going to be a key player that everybody will have their eyes on, and that is none other than reliever for the Sun Devils and junior hometown hero Cole Carlone. Now, Cole Carlone is coming off one of his best seasons with ASU and also might be one of the best relievers in Division I baseball if he's able to execute once again this year. Now, Cole Carlone had a 55.3 whiff percentage on his slider last year, which was 5th among all pitchers. And let's not forget that his whiff percentage in general was good enough for 2nd in the nation. Cole Carlone was also a All-Big 12 first-team recognition member and was also named in the College National Team for USA Baseball. Cole Carlone also dropped his ERA by 4 total points between the last 2 seasons and is looking to drop it even more going into this campaign. Cole Carlone will be used heavily out of Arizona State's bullpen, and it wouldn't be a surprise if he wound up becoming one of the top relievers in Division I baseball.
Now transitioning onto the hardwood, ASU women's basketball took on Oklahoma State at Desert Financial Arena. Our Isabella Perez has the recap from Wednesday's game.
The Sun Devils showed grit this past Wednesday, beating Oklahoma State Cowgirls 74-69, coming off its first home loss in the Molly Miller era against Kansas State. ASU looked to get off a faster start. However, the first quarter started off slow, but the Maroon and Gold found its rhythm in the next 3 quarters. Forward McKinnon Brackens led the way, scoring with 20 points and added 8 rebounds. Brackens continues to dominate on the boards as she leads the team rebounding, averaging 7 per game. Deborah Davenport contributed 18 points and led with 9 rebounds, while knocking down 3 of 4 shots from beyond the arc. Now, with momentum on their side, the Sun Devils look ahead to a challenging matchup against number 15th ranked Baylor, hoping to build on this performance and make another statement on the court.
Well, after feeling that, it feels like women's basketball is in paradise. However, for men's basketball, paradise has been a complete afterthought this season. They hold a record of 12-11, a 3-7 record in Big 12 play. But on the road at Utah, the Maroon and Gold did earn a 71-63 win over the Utah Utes and marked the team's just their 2nd road win of the season. And leading the way for the Sun Devils was center Masamba Diop, posting 15 points in the win. Head coach Bobby Hurley's crew will be back on action on Saturday as they head to Boulder, Colorado to take on the Colorado Buffaloes.
On over to the green and into the Pacific as ASU men's golf traveled to the Amir Ari Invitational. Our Macy McKenzie provides us an update on where the team stands.
Thank you, Tyler. The Sun Devil men's golf team is currently playing its first event of 2026 at the Amir Ari Invitational in Kohala Coast, Hawaii. The number 7 ranked Sun Devils are currently in 3rd place behind Auburn and Stanford after finishing at 23 under in Thursday's opening round. ASU's Michael Miaseth leads the Sun Devils at 9 under par and is in 2nd place individually. Connor Williams is also a player that you want to keep an eye on, as he could be a major factor as the tournament continues. The Californian ranks 19th in the World Amateur Golf Rankings and has consistently put up low scores for the Maroon and Gold. Boston Brackett is another name to watch for. He sits at 4 under par and is currently the 3rd lowest Sun Devil on the leaderboard. His scores play a crucial role for the Sun Devils. With number 5 ranked Auburn at 30 under par and number 35 ranked Stanford at 27 under par, the Sun Devils will need to get their guys to continue to shoot low rounds to close the gap heading into the weekend. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Mason. Arizona State hockey will be back on the ice this weekend in need of some wins. The Sun Devils sit tied for the last in the NCHC playoff spot. For a preview of their upcoming series, here's our Parker Bett.
This is Shimmick. Oh, what a move. Holding, setting up, shot, and a goal. Winner in overtime. Arizona State takes it in the extra session.
After coming away with only 2 points in its series split at Colorado College last weekend, Arizona State hockey hosts the St. Cloud State Huskies at Mullet Arena for a 2-game series. Since joining the NCHC, the Sun Devils lead the all-time series against the Huskies 2-0. St. Cloud State was ranked number 20 in the country prior to being swept by Miami of Ohio last weekend. Despite the below 500 record for the Maroon and Gold, ASU is tied for the most overtime wins in the nation this season. Head coach Greg Powers talked about his team's success in the extra frame.
We worked on it. I mean, I thought overtime last year was our Achilles heel.
Yeah,
and at the end of the day, probably the reason we didn't get in. We didn't win many games in overtime, which if you know, I to a fault, and I got to change this about myself, but if you look at all the overtime losses last year, there wasn't an overtime loss where we didn't have a grade A first. We had a grade A in every overtime loss, and then you know, there were some that other teams barely touched the puck, and then they get one rush and we lose. So it was just really, you know, trying to educate this year's team on that, and we practiced it a ton and really tore it apart in preseason to prep for the season. And then once you start getting into it and you win some, the guys just have confidence playing in it, you know. And we have a lot of skill and a lot of creativity and a lot of speed and kids that can make plays with more space and more time.
SCSU is led by forward Tyson Gross, captaining the pack this season. Gross headlines the Huskies in assists and points. Puck drop for Game 1 is set for 7 p.m. tonight in Tempe.
With Tyson Gross, 3-0. Perfect. I mean, look at it. You could not have placed that any more perfect.
Staying on the ice, one player has made history for the Sun Devils. Our Tanner Buck has more on this star forward.
History has been written in the books for ASU hockey. Forward Bennett Shimmick has awarded the NCHC Forward of the Week for the third time in his career, leading the conference last week with 5 points. The senior from Mendota Heights, Minnesota, has left it all out on the ice, leading his conference in assists while also being tied for first in the NCAA with 27. Shimmick is quite the asset with assists for the Maroon and Gold, averaging 1 assist per game. Shimmick is currently tied for second in points in the conference and third in the NCAA with 38 points.
Well, now that we have reached the end of our show, this is going to be a very exciting weekend. On Sunday, ASU softball takes on Memphis in the early afternoon. Then the Super Bowl takes place. And really, I could speak for all of our colleagues back here. We've got the Patriots winning. But Tyler, who do you have winning the Super Bowl, man?
I have the Patriots too, and that'll do it for another edition of Inside the Inferno. If you want to keep up with everything Arizona State athletics, don't forget to follow us on X and Instagram at Inferno Intel. And check out our website at InfernoIntelMedia.com. For AJ Gonsalves and our entire crew behind the scenes, I'm Tyler Wargo. Thank you for tuning in to Inside the Inferno.